Give it to the one. Yo, bro, this says you got like 20,000 emails. You never check your email?
I can't do it.
Somebody trying to get in touch with you.
I wish you could just click them all and make them red, but I can't go through 20,000 repeaters.
What's up, y'all? Yeah.
We've been trying to get in touch with you. Since you got 20,000.
I was trying to tell you.
Recording started.
All right, Israel. Most High Christ bless everybody. All right. The name of today's lesson is Keep Thyself Pure. Let's go to 1 Timothy 5. Shalom, Jazz.
Keep us up here.
Sorry, hold on.
So the reason why I say keep yourself pure is because remember, like the scriptures say, the unrighteous ain't gonna inherit the kingdom, and that's what we are trying to do. We're trying to survive. We're trying to last. We're trying to inherit the kingdom. The whole reason why, we fail, we fail because of transgression. As a nation, we fail as a nation. It's not? I think this card's got a short in it, so eventually I'm about to get another one. Right. So 1 Timothy chapter 5 and started in 22.
This is 1 Timothy chapter 5 and verse 22. Lay hands suddenly
The second part, neither be partakers, right?
Neither be partaker of other men's sins.
Neither be partakers of other men's sins. Because you're not going to be 1 Timothy 5 and 22. 1 Timothy 5:22. We're in the middle of the precept. You got it?
Yes.
Okay, start it over for you.
This is 1 Timothy chapter 5 verse 22, second precept. Neither be partaker of other men's sins.
Right. Neither be partakers of other men's sins. You know what that means? Go ahead. What?
Stay away from them.
Stay away from them. You got somebody that's in sin. They're doing the wrong thing, whatever it might be. It doesn't matter whether it's small, big. When you are a partaker of that person's sins, that means that you are really being with them, being around them. You are consenting to it. Because eventually, you're going to end up doing the same thing. And a lot of people don't see how they develop, bad habits. What is that? They might start off good. Like you might start off good. You might start off with a really high expectation about what you want things to be like, direction that you go on, stuff that you have, plans. And then all of a sudden, you find some comfortability about yourself in somebody else. And what I mean by comfortability, meaning Everybody is looking for somebody to dwell with. You're looking for somebody to dwell with. You're looking for somebody to be around. Um, and Israel is in what the Bible calls outer darkness. So with us being in outer darkness, that means that the world, meaning Israel, we lied in darkness. So we're in a lot of sin. So being in a lot of sin, the only thing that can really keep us from damaging and corrupting ourselves is the scriptures. Well, we happen to fall short and fall off when we stop listening. So when we stop listening to anybody that's over us, you know, even as a child, as an adult, as a young person, when you stop listening to somebody that's over you, even in marriage, you can have married couples. And I know I got a lot of people that's not married, but even in marriage, you could have, say, for instance, a woman telling the guy, you know, and she'll call them niggas. Those niggas ain't no good for you. You being around, you running with them, this, that, and the third. And he don't want to hear it because something inside of them he likes. You know, it's cool with him. Something inside of them. You know, I've been a young man, so I know what that's like to see something inside of somebody that's super cool. You know, whether it's the way that they dress, you know, the music that they like. I give you an example. Coming up, I had a young friend. My friends, they dead now, but you know, they dead now. And I'll give you some bits and pieces about them that I liked about them, that I saw in them, and maybe you can examine yourself and see what do you see in other people, and the things that you see in them, is it causing you to sin? I start with Ron. No, not Ron. I start with Wendell. Ryan is another. So Wendell came from a nice family, lived in a nice neighborhood, mother and father in his life. I grew up single family, hardworking mother. I liked it, the family structure that he had. That um, his older brothers seemed to be, you know, well off, had jobs. You know, they wasn't into nothing shady. Older men, because we was like teenagers at the time. So I'm speculating all of this. It was to the point to where you know, maybe once a week, that his older brother would loan him his pickup so he can go out and you know, hustle and stuff like that with the truck. And we would take the pickup truck out and collect tires. Like some of you see, like you see some of the, like you might see a tire land on the side of the street. We would go and take those tires and sell them to tire shops. Because Jake's, they just began to have tire shops now over the last 20 years. But 10 years before that, the Jakes didn't have tire shops. All the Edomites had tire shops, and they used to give us like $15 for a tire. So, you know, to us, that was some money. That was gas money for our car. We used to split the money. I remember he would give me $7. You know, we sell it for 15. We find a tire, sell it for 15. He give me $7. We'd be looking for tires, you know, and we would cut grass. So at the end of the day, after we use his brother's pickup truck, man, he's got this older brother that's, you know, do stuff like that for him, give him his truck, and his older brother's name was Kenneth, and that was cool. His dad, he used to wash his dad's car, but his dad didn't let him just take the car and just do whatever he wanted to. He would wash it, come pick me up, and we'd ride and go to the store and come back and bring it back because he had his own car. His car was nice too. So was mine. We had cars. At 17 years old, we was driving cars. We had cars. And I ain't talking about buckets. We had shining cars with spokes on it and all kind of stuff. But it wasn't like a new car. So his dad had a new car. So those are the good things, about him, in a word, at the innocent things. But what about him did I really like? The fact that he had that family structure, and when you're young, you have that burning sensation, youthful lust. Uncorrected is fatal at the end. So, he was, I don't know whether to say he was the womanizer or I was the womanizer. Maybe it was me, but he had it in him too. He had it in him too. And just the fact that, um, oh, and the other thing, he was into smoking drugs. He's getting high too. So those things about him, to me, made him cool. I was like, this cool. This everything that I couldn't be, I saw it in him. Structured, older family, his brothers, them, well, my older brothers, they were off. They just said the hell with St. Louis, the hell with their little brothers. They were out doing their thing. Okay. You go into the house spotless. They was always polite. Hi, he's downstairs. You want something to drink? Sure. Yes. Whatever, right? If I had kept myself from him, it's a lot that I wouldn't have done. I wouldn't have been into girls the way that I was into girls. The next friend, Ron. I met Ron from Wendell, nicknamed Fubi. Now, Fubi was the smooth person. He come from a single family too. And the same, now he was, as far as a womanizer, he was above us both. He looked like a bug. But I guess because his smooth, his smooth talk, the girls liked him. And he had a nice car too. So we all three had nice cars. We all three was into girls. We all ping pong and bounced off each other. All right. So I'm gonna fast forward their lives. The womanizing part, I pretty much got sucked into. I began to have children. I began to, everything that could go wrong as far as children, young, parenting, it did go wrong. Of course, I didn't know that it was going wrong, but it was going wrong. Okay. Messing around and hustling in the street, we all had our parts in it, which was wicked and evil. Wendell, he got a hook. He got addicted to drugs to where he was trying to use and sell, and somebody ended up killing him. So early 20s, when I came into the truth, I'm like Tyreek on what's that? Boys in the Hood, right? Boys in the Hood, trying to kick game. So I go back around my friends, and I had other friends too. I go back around my friends trying to kick some. What is it? Minister Society. Very close, same thing. I go back around those same friends trying to kick some game. They didn't want to hear it. When it was alive, they didn't want to hear it. I'm like, oh, okay. So that this truth was supposed to take you so far away from that you cannot, you ain't supposed to touch them. From time to time, I would really think about the love that I had for us when we were really young, all of the times that we had, and I would go back and try and say something to him. So Wendell ended up getting killed on Floyd. That's on the north side. Somebody shot him in a house. The last alcoholic drink that I had with my friend Ron. So I go to this lounge, and that's the only reason why I was there. I hated everything. The way that I have hatred for now, sin and wickedness, is the way that I had wicked sin. I had hatred for sin and wickedness, but I wanted my friend Ron. He had a hard life. I mean, that was my dirty buddy. So I go into this lounge on Cut Above on Martin Luther King and Goodfellas. And I'm sitting in there and I'm talking to him and I'm trying to get through to him, and I'm drinking a Long Island tea. So this is a long time ago. I'm drinking this Long Island tea. And at this point, I had been away from him so long, and he had even went to jail and come out. And the friends that he had wanted him in the street, and I wanted him in the truth, away from the street. And he told me, man, these niggas don't like jealous of you. And when he said that, I was like, okay. I just left it at that, So I eventually left. That was the last I seen him. Well, he gets killed in the parking lot of that little bar. X'd out. None of these people never heard the truth. So when the scriptures teach you, and everybody out there, you're going to see some type of quality that's inside of them. But the quality that you see inside of them is of a sinful nature according to the Most High. And you're going to be up against, am I going to serve the Most High, or am I going to follow Wendell? Or am I going to follow Ron? To you, it might be Tim and it might be James. Read the precept again.
This is 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 22, second precept. Neither be partaker of other men's sins.
Right. So now check this out. When we were young, the habits that we bounced off each other made us a partaker of each other's sins, and we grew into these things. Do you understand? We grew into these things. Even the things that was in me, they grew into. And they lost their life messing with it. Being a partaker of something that's in somebody else that you know is wrong, it could be fatal to you. And I would advise any and everybody to have those listening ears to the point to where you actually save yourself. You turn from these people, even though it seems, because everybody's got an expiration date. And you don't know when yours gonna come up. Because what happens is yours come up. If you ain't straight, you're gonna have to give an account of it. And it ain't gonna end up being what you think. You can live a good life, prosperous life, a healthy life, and things will be fine. But if you hanging with the crew and you know the crew is up to no good, you're gonna learn their ways. And you're gonna do what they do. And the Most High is gonna deal with you, and he's gonna deal with them. All right? Read the next part.
Keep thyself pure.
See, keep thyself pure. That's what we have to do, Israel. We have to keep ourselves pure. How do we keep ourselves pure? By following the scriptures, learning to obey the voice of the Most High. Like the scriptures say, if you, like now, we in the truth. All right. Let's go to St. John. St. John, 10. And verse. Start at 3.
St. John chapter 10 and verse 3. To him the porter opened it, and to the sheep. I'm sorry. St. John 10 and 3. To him the porter opened it, and the sheep hear his voice.
Right, one more time.
St. John chapter 10 and 3. To him the porter opened it, and the sheep hear his voice.
Right, so you know what a porter is? A porter is somebody that actually waits and they open something up for you. All right, go ahead.
And he called it his own sheep by name.
All right, so we've got to learn to listen until our name being called. We got to learn to listen to our name being called. So when the Most High said it's time, and he called me by name, and he called me from amongst these guys, like they wasn't dead when he called me, they were alive. You understand? They were alive. I heard it. And I said, boom, okay, let me listen. And when the Most High call you, you know, he'll call you, and he'll call you along with correction too. Because you will be in the midst of sin. And something will happen. It doesn't have to be so deadly and so fatal and this, that, and the third. But he'll just call you, and meaning by the way of preaching. And somebody will be telling you, walk in this way. And so you'll have an interest in listening, because in each and every last one of us, there should be the fear of the Most High, the fear of the God in us. And why there's the fear of the Lord in us, you know, even though we might not really understand or completely know what we're doing with our lives, and we're just going on our everyday, day-to-day basis, doing this and doing that, and certain things happen unto us, and then all of a sudden, the Most High used one of his servants to be bringing our scriptures and precepts, and then we start listening and we start hearing the voice. That's the call right there. And your friends ain't gonna be right there with you to listen to the call. They don't hear the voice. You hear the voice. It's meant for you to hear it. It's at that point in time, it's not meant for them. And sometimes we want other people to hear that same voice that we heard. We want people to listen to it and hear it the same way that we listen to it, in the same way that we heard. And it doesn't happen like that. Okay, go ahead.
And leaded them out.
And leaded them out. So he'll lead you out of what? He'll lead you out of the situation that you're in. He'll lead you out of the trouble that you're in. He'll lead you out of the pack of wolves, the den of thieves. The problem is you don't look at it like that. You don't look at it like I'm in trouble, because you can't see your future. You don't know what's coming. Like my friends didn't see their future. They ended up dead. The day that somebody pulled a gun on them, they both got a GWS. Somebody drew down on them, because anybody in here had a gun put on them before? All of us. But they didn't squeeze. Well, I've actually, yeah. But they didn't squeeze, in the most cases, and we hear to say, wow, I don't want that happen. Well, those people, they not here. So they didn't get led out of that situation. Neither did they know that situation was going to come. But us, we here. And he called us up out of that. And no, so you got to be like, wow, the Most High called me, and the Lord saved me from wickedness. He saved me. So when the scriptures talk about keeping yourself pure and so on and so forth, and abstaining from these type of people, it's for a reason. It's to actually save you. You cannot get in the midst of the truth and then get bored. Get in the midst of the truth and get complacent. Get in the midst of the truth and then you're like, I don't have no purpose. Or get in the midst of the truth and don't like it because it's not a circus like the world that the Lord called you up out of. Remember, everybody when the Most High called you from people, He called you to save you. We can finish this, but let's get Amos, right? All the sinners. The Lord is trying to save you by calling you. You know what I want?
Nah.
The book of Amos, let's see, chapter 9 and start at verse 8.
This is Amos chapter 9 and verse 8. Behold, the eyes of the Lord are upon the sinful kingdom.
Right. The sinful kingdom that he's talking about is America. He's talking about America. It says the Lord, the Most High, has got his eyes upon the sinful kingdom. The Most High sees everything that happens in this earth. So he's seeing it. Okay. Now we're going to read this slower. Go ahead.
And I will destroy it from off the face of the earth.
Right. When did the Most High saying he's going to do away with all the people? The Most High never say he's going to do away with all the people or he's going to do away with this kingdom. But he said, I'm going to destroy this sinful kingdom from off the face of the earth. That means that the kingdom will no longer exist. That kingdom is America. So now, I give you an example of what's going on. And pay attention. If the Most High wanted a prophet, imagine this, the Most High wanted a prophet to prophesy and speak in the 20th century. That's this century, the 20th century. Okay. So this is by what they're going off, the year 2020, right? And he wants them to prophesy, and he has a speech that needs to happen. When's Passover? April 7th. April 7th. Right?
Yes, sir.
Why would the Most High have the baby born April the 1st, 2020? That's why his seed gonna be moved. Y'all gotta move him. Not now. But do you understand? Think about it. It sounds like a trick question. This prophet has a speech that has to be made Passover, April 7th, 2020. So for those of y'all that don't know, the Passover this year is, the beginning of it is April the 7th. The Most High has a prophet that's going to speak at the Passover in a certain place, April the 7th. Why would the Most High have the baby to be born April the 1st, 2020? He wouldn't. So he would have to start putting things in effect when? Years before. Not only that, he'd have to stir up the two minds of the people to be in marriage. So they go through a proving process, a confirmation process, a consolation process, betrothal, ceremony, wedding, consummation. They don't even know what's going to happen April the 7th, 25 years later. They don't know what's going to happen, right?
Yes, sir.
But who do? The Most High knows. So why am I having you think that deeply? Because when the Most High called you out of the truth, you don't know what the Most High's got in store for you 20 years later. You just heard the calling. He just called you and had you say something. I mean, start preaching and had people speaking and teaching to you and had you say something. And then next thing you know, you got a job to do in the future. That's the reason why we must separate ourselves, hear the calling, and follow the voice of the Most High. Because the Lord said, I'm going to destroy the sinful kingdom off the face of the earth. Hold this and go to St. John 5. St. John chapter 5. And verse 22.
This is St. John chapter 5 and verse 22.
Start at verse 19.
St. John 5 and 19. Then answered Yahushua and said unto them, Verily, verily, I say unto you, the Son can do nothing of himself, but what he seeth the Father do.
Right. So what he seeth the Father, what did he see the Father do? He see the Father make life. So now he's doing it. Read.
For what things soever he doeth, these also doeth the Son likewise.
So now Yahushua is imitating what he see Yahweh the power, the God of Israel, do, which is bring people from back to death. You know, raise them from the dead. You understand? So now Christ is like Father, like Son. He's doing it. Read.
For the Father loveth the Son, and showeth him all things that himself doeth.
So he showed him how to do it. Read.
And he will show him greater works than these, that ye may marvel.
That you may marvel. Read.
For as the Father raised up the dead.
So he's given a similitude. As the Father raised up the dead. Go ahead.
And quickened them.
And make them alive. Read.
Even so the Son.
Even so the Son. Go ahead.
Quickened whom he will.
Quickened it. And so now he will call and make you alive. The same way the Most High will actually save people and bring them, put their spirit back into their body. And people be sworn up and I died. And people on the outside will be telling you, this person died. This person died. They had no pulse, no temperature. They were gone. And now, boop, next thing you know, bam, they back. Christ is saying that's the same thing he does. That's the reason why he calls you up out of the world. That's him imitating and doing exactly what the Most High does. But we don't see that. You don't see that your calling is a high calling. Your calling ain't just something as simple as what you see in the world. Oh, I just did this. What's wrong with that? You are special. It's something unique about the process that your life takes. Your life is predestinated. You are predestined to do mighty and great things in the world, but you cannot do it if you in the mesmerizing lie. What is the mesmerizing lie? The world. That's why you got to come up out of the world. You got to come up out of the friendship of the world, the affiliation, the association, the communication. You got to, all that is whack. You got to come away from up out of those people. And you got to separate yourself, because if you don't, you will never see the thing that you was brought here to do. I use the example of somebody 25 years ago being born. They got a job to do April the 7th, 2020. They were sent here to do it. It's inside of them. It's right. Everybody understand? It's inside of them. They are predestinated to do it. The Lord told Jeremiah, I have ordained you to be a prophet unto the nations, right? Yes. So now, if that, whatever person that is supposed to do this sermon and do this thing April the 7th, 2020, if they fall into the wrong hands, they will end up being what? Corrupted. Corrupted. Therefore, unable to fulfill their job and their destinies and their destiny in which they were supposed to fulfill, and now labeled no good, no more good. You cannot let that happen to you. That's when the scriptures say evil communication corrupt. It'll corrupt the manners that you have. It'll corrupt you. So you cannot let that happen. All right, let's finish it.
Verse 22. For the Father judgeth no man, but hath committed all judgment unto the Son.
So in other words, Christ is examining how you do your resurrection from the flesh. Let me put it like that. He's examining your resurrection from what?
The flesh.
The flesh, also known as what? Begins with a W.
World.
The world. He's judging your resurrection from the world. Because the Most High has made him the what? The bishop of our souls. The finisher of what? Our faith. Yeah. You understand? So he's responsible for that. So he's the judge of, and that's why each and every one of us, he makes sure those that are going to make it, he makes sure that you get the message. He makes sure that he hold the ones that are over you accountable so that we do it in a fashion that is pleasing to him so that you can be pleased to him. Do we understand? Wait. So tell us where you're at.
This is St. John chapter 5 and verse 23. That all men should honor the Son, even as they honor the Father.
Right. So now we have to honor the Son like we honor the Father. Why? Because he did the works that the Father gave him to do. And doing the works that the Father gave him to do, if we don't show honor by making sure that we apply, it's showing dishonor by seeing and having acknowledgement and just going about doing our own thing. Go ahead.
He that honoreth not the Son, honoreth not the Father, which has sent him.
Right. So do we understand that? The stuff that we're learning, if we don't honor the Son, we're not honoring the Most High. Because the things that the Son did, which is the Christ, those are the words that he got from the Most High to teach us. Those are instructions. And that's why he lived the life that he lived. Go ahead.
Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that heareth my word and believeth on him that sent me hath everlasting life.
Right. He that believeth, heareth my word. So that's us teaching you about Christ. And then believeth on him, meaning so now you believe on the Most High that he sent Christ. You have everlasting life. That means you're going to get into the kingdom. Go ahead. And
shall not come into condemnation.
And you ain't going to come into the judgment of eternal damnation. That's what condemnation is, eternal damnation. It ain't no getting out of that judgment. Go ahead.
But it's passed from death unto life.
But you have passed. You have won your salvation. You have won. You have passed from death unto life. But before we move on, because our point is coming, you got to hear the word and then you got to believe it. And then you have to show that you believe it by applying it. You have to hear the word and then you have to apply it. And then you have to show that you believe it by applying. We're going to say Christ didn't do this and Christ didn't do that. Christ is the measuring stick. And once we let you know, because Christ is the one that lives without sin, according to God, the Father, the Most High. It was acceptable. The Most High justified him. He pleased him enough to justify him to say, hey, he was without sin. He was not in transgression. You understand? And so we have to pattern our lives after the Messiah. So we cannot be hooked on drugs. We cannot be fornicating. We cannot be a thief. We cannot be lying. We have to keep the high holy days. We have to admonish one another in the faith of the Most High in Christ. We have to love our neighbor as ourselves. We cannot hate our wives. We cannot hate our family. We cannot hate our children. We cannot hate the truth. We cannot hate the strap, the yoke that's put upon us. Whenever you're yoked to something, that's like a chain, a collar. It's not free to where you put a chain on something and it has infinite space. Then what's the sense of the chain? So you cannot hate the yoke and the collar, so you can understand. So this is St. John 5:24. It says you shall not come into condemnation, but it's passed from death into life. Here's our point, verse 25.
Verily, verily, I say unto you, the hour is coming, and now is, when the dead shall hear the voice of the Son of God, and they that hear shall live.
Exactly. So he resurrected us from the dead like the Most High resurrects people from dead. Do we understand that? When the dead is, remember Ezekiel 37, can these dead bones live? Right. The dead is us when we're in the midst of the world of sin. James, Timothy, John, Ron. You understand? When you're in the midst of, give me some female names for our sisters that's hanging with sisters. Who? No, I ain't talking about scriptural names. They ain't gonna get it. I need Jasmine, Kiara, Kiki, Pookie, Lene. I need those bootleg names. Where when babies had babies, they didn't, they named that Chandra, Patience, Renee's, two Renee's, Kiki, Latrice. Tammy, Pam. You understand? So when you're in the midst of all of those people, the scriptures say you got to hear the voice. The dead shall hear the voice and live. So in order to live, you got to separate yourself. You're gonna have to separate yourself. If you don't separate yourself, what's gonna happen? What is that? Typramisha. What is Typramisha? Yeah, all kind of Mishas. Misha, Aisha, Keisha, Lanisha, Lene, Lashana, Donna, Tawana, Lisa.
Hey, you fucking out.
Wait, name your baby mamas. He's like, man, he named your baby mamas, man.
He was saying that's a DMX song.
Oh, he's like, man, you named my baby mama. Them some boys for you, huh? He on the sick, he can't think of none, but he got he can't think of no names, so he gonna name you, Oh man, y'all got some characters. But it ain't his baby mama. like that ain't my baby mama. Still defending her. She gone, bro. He's still defending her. Oh man. All right. So when we are in the midst of these people, that's when we hear the voice, and that's when we have to come out because we are destined for something greater. All right? We're destined for something greater. Let's get Romans 8. No, first get Ephesians 1. All right. Okay, Ephesians 1. And verse 3.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 1 and 3. Blessed be the God and Father of our Lord Christ, who hath blessed us with all spiritual blessing in heavenly places in Christ.
Right. Blessed be the Most High. So when Paul realized what we learning right now today, he realized that. He's like, that's the same as saying all praises to the Most High, because he blessed us with spiritual blessings. And when it says places in Christ, it means things. All you have to do is want to. You get a job. You get a job. All you have to do is want to. And if you want to, when the Most High give you the job, the Most High also gonna bless you for working. Remember the virtuous woman? Her hands, she gonna be blessed in her hands and all of that. Right. So even women, you can work in this truth. You can work in this truth. You can prophesy in this truth. How do sisters prophesy in this truth? By teaching other women. Not usurping authority over men, but teaching other women to be sharp. And I mean, stand down on top of those women. It's going to get you, for you sisters, it's going to get you some gray hairs. It's going to get you some headaches, some heartaches, some belly aches. It's going to probably run your blood pressure up. One of the main reasons for high blood pressure, one of them is diet, but the other major is what? Stress. That's right. Stress. Yep. Stress. Because we be stressing over trying to get somebody to listen to what we're doing. Listen to what we're trying to convey. I'm sending this to you. I'm feeding this to you. And they sitting there looking like a bunion lip. They just look at you. You're trying to teach them, they just looking at you. You're trying to bring forth the scriptures, the understanding, your 50 years of experience, they just looking at you. Like you don't know what you're talking about because you're older than them. When they don't realize that, and I'm picking on the youth because I talk to each and every last one of you all the time. You just start understanding 7 years ago. You understand? So let's just say somebody is 22. At the age of 22, at 15, you start buck wilding. That's a 7. You got 7 years of experience. You know nothing. You ain't a professional at anything in 7 years. Come on, man. You have no experience. You want me to bring them? I can take them. All right. So, when you read Luke chapter 10, Christ said the harvest is great. It's talking about Israel, but the labors are few. The reason why he said the labors are few, because the true laborers that really is dedicating and committing themselves is few. Now, you might have some people that dress in a laborer clothing. I tell you, show you what they look like. You ever seen the police pretend to be a construction worker? Is they really working? Yeah, you have. You see it on television. They be casing a building or something. He's out there with an orange vest on. Is he really a laborer? No, he's really trying to shoot somebody up. He's really trying to kill him, trying to take him to jail. He's really in disguise. So there are a lot of brothers and sisters that are in disguise. They're not true laborers. So God is hiring. There's a lot of labor positions that are really open. And if you take that position, be ready to fight the stress that comes with it. But I tell you like this, it is going to equal, let me get my marker together. It's going to equal reward from the Most High. He paying. He'll help you out. But in order to, you're going to have to sacrifice. You're going to have to sacrifice, and you can't complain of the time that you have to sacrifice. Can you grab that water for me before the thing freezes up? You can't complain of the sacrifice. How long you been single? How long you been poor? How long you been without? How long you this? How long you that? You can't complain of it. So, yes, sir. Crack it open for me. So Ephesians chapter 1, thanks. In verse 4.
According as he had chosen us in him.
Stop. So we give praise unto the Most High for all the blessings that he's given us to do the stuff in Christ. That's the third verse. And according as he has chosen us in him, meaning to do this stuff in Christ, in the body. Okay, go ahead.
Before the foundation of the world.
Before he put us back on this earth, or before he brought us into the earth. Before the foundation of the world. Check this out. A foundation, if you're going to build a house, a foundation is what you pour, right? Mm-hmm. So now, to help you understand, pay attention. You're going to build this big old hospital. Let's build a hospital for Israel. These are Israel only hospitals. We're going to build this big hospital for Israel, right? Concrete workers, Israel, out there pouring forms, right? Yes. Before that form is built, what's present?
Foundation.
A plan. There are plans. That's on paper. So before Israel was a nation, before earth, God said that there were plans in the heavens with him. No man builded a house before without plans. You understand? You have to have a vision. Even the Lord himself had plans. You're reading it. It doesn't say God had plans, but but he's trying to tell you that before the foundation is something that you pour for a house to sit on so that the house doesn't sink left or right, forward or backwards. Right? Now, before this foundation of a nation of the world, we were with him. He have chosen us in him before the foundation. What is before the foundation? What comes before? The plans. So you were a part of the plan. So while you were here and you were subjected to all the value, growing up in the dirt, growing up in the hood, in the ghetto slums, growing up everywhere you were growing up, guess what? The Most High say, now it's time. And now he have to call you and he have to tell you to separate yourself and to keep yourself from other men's sins and keep yourself pure. And then you would have to hear the voice. And then your eyes shall see your teachers. And then you're going to start realizing that the thing that he put inside of you is for you to help build this nation. All right, let's continue.
That we should be holy and without blame before him in love.
That we should be holy. So he would call you to the holiness part, to the part where you'd have to keep yourself pure. He have chosen us in him before the foundation. And now you realize that you got to be holy. What's holy? The law. And without blame. So nobody should be having fault with you. Nobody should be pointing the finger at you. You should not be setting bad examples. You should not be breaking the commandments, breaking the law, walking in the lust of the flesh. You should not be self-minded, willful. Nobody should have blame on you, blaming anything on you. It says before him. And see that love? That love is everything that love is how you supposed to feel about your life in this word. All right, go ahead.
Having predestinated us unto the adoption of children.
Having predestinated us. So you are predestinated. Before you was here, there was a destination. When you were in the spirit world, the Lord said, soon I'm going to send this brother. Soon I'm going to send that brother. Soon I'm going to send this sister. Soon I'm going to send this sister. So there are male and female, created he them because they are already with the Most High. The Spirit of God in the Spirit are not just males. There are females too. So he sent female, female, male, male, female, male, female, male. He send you here, boom. He send you help, boom. He send you help. That's why you can't just do anything. Anybody, it ain't just anybody for you. There's somebody for each and every last one of you. You're trying to figure it out. Don't worry about it. You just walk the walk. Stay on the path. He'll show you. You don't have to go out and find it. It's not there. The scriptures tell you, don't be looking in the streets, wondering about. It's not there. You're going to set a bad example and pierce yourself with pains and afflictions. You're going to be sorrowful. So if you don't want to be sorrowful, then you have to stay the course, keep the faith, and let the Lord show you. Isaac was 40 years old. Hey, don't be thinking time is running out. You're good, Daniel. You feeling better, brother. All praises. Time is running out. What? Ain't no time running out. It's running out on your clock. You set the timer. Like you twitch. You set that, not the Most High. Having predestinated us unto the adoption of children, meaning the Most High was bringing people back in with the rest of the children by Christ to himself, according to the good pleasure of his will. Read the next one.
To the praise of the glory of his grace, wherein he had made us accepted in the beloved.
He made us accepted by cleansing us up in the beloved. Who is the beloved? This is my beloved son in the Christ. He made us accepted in the Christ. Go ahead.
In whom we have redemption through his blood.
Now we got redemption through Christ. What about his blood? The life that he lived and shedded his blood by applying the scriptures, enduring. Go ahead.
The forgiveness of sins.
The forgiveness of sins. Now we are forgiven as long as we pattern ourselves after his life. Go ahead.
According to the riches of his grace.
Right. What does that mean? He wasn't have a little grace. He had a lot of grace. If he had a little grace, then we would have just been dead by the wayside when we were in sin. As soon as you got into sin, boom. For everybody that's not virgins, soon you fornicated, you died. You got killed. For everybody that stole, you broke the commandment. Soon as you stole something, you got taken out. For all liars, as soon as you lied, like what's their name? Sephora and who? What's the liar's name? Ananias and Sephora. They lied, they dropped dead. And all of these things that we be doing, not really realizing that the Lord could drop us dead and then still be justified based upon his law and how he understand it. Not you and your understanding, but guess what? He take you and how you understand it in consideration to an extent, to the point to where he know that you're ignorant. And that's why Christ said, forgive them. They ignorant. They don't know what they're doing. So he said, forgive them. So now us, what's last part? He showed riches to us in his grace. Go ahead.
Wherein he hath abounded toward us.
He came to us when we were in sin. Go ahead.
In all wisdom and prudence.
Right. He came to us in all wisdom. Wisdom ain't just words, man. Wisdom is the actions. Wisdom is experience. So he showed us experience and then made the sense of it. That's the prudent part. The smart, make the sense of it and teach you how to put those two things together and weigh them based upon your life and what you're doing. And you say, I don't want no parts of anything that's wrong because it's going to get me jacked up. Go ahead.
Having made known unto us the mystery of his will.
See that? I don't want to get jacked up. So let me get myself together. He made known unto us the mystery of his will. What is his will? To apply the scriptures, because all the sinners of his people, they're going to die. Go ahead.
According to his good pleasure, which he had purposed in himself.
Go ahead.
That in the dispensation of the fullness of times, he might gather together in one all things in Christ.
Everything that's in him, we're going to be gathered together. Go ahead.
Both which are in heaven.
Those that are died and did the right thing, they applied the right thing is applying the scriptures. They had faith that led to works. All right. Go ahead.
And which are on earth.
And then those that are living on earth. Because we don't just want to think that the ones that died but what about us? You know, they died in Christ. They were righteous. They were obedient. But what about us? So this being in earth, it represents us now. So the ones that live in those generations, like the Ephesians that he directly wrote this to, they're not walking on the earth now. So we're the ones that are on earth now. And instead of it being to the Ephesians, it's in California, in Atlanta, North America, South America, Central America, and if the remnants of Israelites that might be on the continent of um, Africa, basically dispersed throughout the four corners of the world. We live in now, and we are on the earth. So he's going to gather us with them and create the superpower, and we shall reign on the earth, according to Revelations chapter 5 and 10. Get that very quickly. Revelations chapter 5 and start at verse 9. Read 9 and 10.
This is Revelation chapter 5 and verse 9. And they sung a new song, saying, Thou art worthy to take the book, and to open the seals thereof. For thou wast slain, and hast redeemed us to God by thy blood out of every kindred, and tongue, and people, and nation.
Go ahead.
And has made us unto our God kings and priests, and we shall reign on the earth.
Right, and we shall reign on the earth. So what's going to happen to the existing people that's on the earth? Now you need to go back to Amos chapter 9 and verse, it was 8.
This is Amos chapter 9 and verse 8. Behold, the eyes of the Lord God are upon the sinful kingdom.
So how both kingdoms gonna reign? Go ahead.
And I will destroy it from off the face of the earth.
So when he destroyed off the face of the earth, the Most High is going to join those that are on the earth with those that are in heaven, and they're going to reign on the earth. And the sinful kingdom going to be destroyed off the face of the earth. And that's what they don't like. They don't like that. You know, I started watching a series this morning, and I think I'm gonna finish about Malcolm X. You know, Malcolm X left FOI. And those brothers had him killed along with, you know, the so-called white man. And he was prophesying against America and against the fall of America and against the mistreatment of the so-called black man. But the thing was, even though he left the Nation of Islam, his followers were still of the Nation of Islam. And Elijah Muhammad didn't like it, that he's had a huge voice and a huge following of the people. Maybe he thought that they were poisoning him. And so they end up having him killed. But he was like a sledgehammer. He had hundreds of people listening to him all the time, man. Hundreds of people, thousands of people all over listening to Malcolm X. And he, like I was just saying, that he was prophesying of that kingdom falling down. So they don't like you to prophesy about the fall of America. They're gonna label you a terrorist. Okay, that's why the smarter we get, you know, we have to weigh our words in a balance and things like that. Some of the stuff that we say today, we say it out of anger, and I understand why it's being said. When we read the Gospels, you don't read such verbal attacks like that. And they knew that Amos 9 and 8 was heard. And they knew the stuff that we know, but you don't hear a lot of verbal attacks like you hear. So just be mindful on the target that you put on yourself. You know, when necessary, you have to say what you got to say. but to just constantly maybe make yourself like Malcolm made himself. And I think a lot of brothers did that today. You know, their whole thing is about the white man, you know, and that's why they have become targets. Go ahead.
I was just, what's the FOI? Was that Israel?
No,
Oh, okay.
something of Islam.
Fruit.
Fruit of, yes, right. The fruit of Islam. Right. That's what that is. And NOI, Nation of Islam. So the fruit of Islam are the men. The Nation of Islam is all the men, women, and all the children, which are all Israelites. That's crazy. Which are all Israelites. They can't, but you know what? Those guys were known for all different type of criminal activity, you know, murder, selling drugs, and all of that. You know, they just hated the white man, so they, you know, is none but another game, and they, you know, come together in unity and black power, and but not according to the scriptures. You know, something that they made up. So we was at Amos 9, right?
Mhm.
Amos 9 and 8. Go ahead.
Saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, said the Lord.
So the Lord said He's gonna destroy the kingdom off the face of the earth, but He ain't gonna totally destroy the house of Jacob, said the Lord. Why? Because one part gonna survive, and those are the ones that's gonna reign on the earth. Go ahead.
For lo, I will command.
I will command, and that's the part that we've been telling you about. That you got to hear the voice and live. He gonna command, and when He command Christ. Christ command teachers. Teachers command you. Go ahead.
And I will sift the house of Israel among all nations, like as corn is sifted in a sieve. Yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth.
Right, and that's those are going to be saved because you're not going to fall upon the earth, meaning die. You're not going to die. You're going to be saved. So this is the saving of your soul when the Most High call you away from the people that's misleading you, calling you away from. How do we open up in Timothy?
Other men sins.
Right, calling you from their sins. The Lord is calling you away from their sins, telling you to keep yourself pure. So that's Him. Why? Because, read verse 10.
All the sinners of my people shall die by the sword.
Right, and I told you how I've had my friends to die. So if I were to continue to be amongst the group, I'd end up like that too. And so will you. So if you continue on that path with people that you call friends, guess what's going to happen? You're going to end up like that. You're going to end up getting yourself killed by the Lord. All the sinners of my people, because the Lord is judging His people because He's telling them what to do, shall die by the sword. Go ahead.
Which say.
So now they say, so you correcting them and they saying this. Go ahead.
The evil shall not overtake nor prevent us.
Right. It ain't going to happen to me, and ain't nobody going to stop me. Ain't nobody going to stop me from selling drugs. Ain't nobody going to stop me from seeing this woman. Ain't nobody going to stop you from seeing this man. Ain't nobody going to stop you from stealing. Ain't nobody going to stop you from hustling. You saying our people, they say that nothing bad is going to happen to them. We tell people all the time, women tell men, hey, stay out the streets. You out there in the streets, something going to happen to you. These niggas, this, that. Women telling the guy that. He's like, ain't nothing going to happen to me. All these people that end up dead, guess what? Somebody had told them, the youth. All the ones that end up, police chase. Oh, now we got a vigilante. We got a, how you call it, a vigilante. We got to come together and hold the candles. And that he didn't have a gun and he didn't have a gun and he didn't have a gun. Guess what? Somebody told him, don't take his behind out there. He went out there anyway. If he had stayed in the house and he had listened, he would have never been in a stolen car saying, I ain't going to jail. I don't want to go to jail. Or I got something that I want to get caught with this weed. I don't want to get caught with these pills. Because we're so poor, we don't have no chunks and truckload full of heroin bricks. 2,000 pounds. White boy get caught with 2,000 pounds. You ain't got no 2,000 pounds. You might have about 10 or 15 pills, 20 pills, bag of pills. You don't want to get caught with that because they treat you differently. So you don't want. So what do? You run from the police, think that you got the wheel, end up hitting the light pole. Now they knocking down light poles left and right. Bing, 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 bing. They're knocking down light poles. Shooting them up. When somebody told them, guess what? Stay out these streets. Whatever you're doing out there, because people, they are professional liars. They ain't nothing. If somebody tell you a lie, man, you can't trust nothing that they say. If you lie to me, it's nothing you could talk. And out of respect, I'm going to listen, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to listen. I'm going to believe it because you are known for lying. And you will lie to satisfy your need to try and manipulate me. And I'm not going to be your fool. I hear you. If I don't see it, because I can discern right and wrong. If I don't see it, I don't know. And you're known for lying. So a lot of people, they be lying, man. I ain't did this and I ain't did that. Okay. The Lord said that He's going to destroy His people. And the ones they say, the evil shall not overtake us, nor stop me. Ain't nothing going to stop me from doing this. I'm not going to get caught. That's what that means. I'm not going to get caught. And a lot of them, they do get caught. They end up in prison and the whole 9 yards. All right. So the Lord, in other words, the Most High is calling you from this when He's teaching you the Bible. He's saving your life. He's instilling something in you that the system doesn't put in you. The system don't teach you not to steal. They put all the dainties out there and they put cameras up. And they put the cameras up there and they leave the stuff accessible for you. And when you take it, they put you in jail and have you work for free. All right. So we're almost done. Let's see what we got left open. Did we finish John?
We did. We only read verse 3.
Let's go back to St. John 10. All right, St. John. And we just stop at using 4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, start at 4 again.
This is St. John chapter 10 and verse 4. And when he put forth his own sheep, he goeth before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice.
Right. And that means that once you change and once you turn, you should at this point know the voice of Christ, know the voice of God. Know when somebody coming out the scriptures. Sorry. Know when somebody coming out the scriptures. Know when what they're saying is right. If you're in the midst of doing something wrong and somebody happened to correct you out the scriptures and say, oh, you ain't supposed to do that. You a follower of Christ. Then you're supposed to know that. Okay? Go ahead.
Verse 5.
So we're at St. John chapter 10 and verse 5.
And a stranger.
Stop. You know what the stranger is? The stranger is the friend. The stranger is a friend, believe it or not. You got a friend that doesn't follow Christ? Yeah, they don't know nothing about Christ. Christ knows everything about them. He knows that they what? That they are in a sinful lifestyle. And the type of lifestyle that will do what? Seduce you into breaking the commandments of the Most High, which is supposed to seal you for life eternal. And a stranger, go ahead.
Will they not follow?
Will they not follow? Will you follow a stranger? Do you have friendship with the world? If you follow a stranger, you are in big trouble. Very quickly, I'll get it from here. Start the communion out. Let's go to St. James chapter 4.
So even
Mm-hmm.
like Instagram,
Even
like follow
Instagram.
celebrities and music, or rappers and stuff. It's probably
Okay.
check it. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what it says. Following. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. At any degree. Let me say that. Wait a minute. So you got a good question. It says follow, right?
Right.
Follow, right?
Mhm.
Do you know what celebrities can make you do? Send. They're communicating with you. Just like, aren't you being communicated with by this letter? Huh?
Right.
And you following it by this letter, right?
Mhm.
Exactly. So Instagram, they putting stuff out there and they expecting you to follow it, right?
Mhm.
Boom, it's gonna jump right on you. Yeah. I didn't drink gin until I started listening to Tupac. Years ago, I was a lot younger. Yes. People will have you doing what they speaking on, what they rapping. He was a rapper. He did this. I said, okay, let me try this. Had some rap song, drinking Tanqueray straight out the bottle. I'm like,
So nasty. It is so nasty.
it's like
That's a man.
wormwood. I'm like, dang, no wonder you a thug life. You like thug life, baby. I'm like, you can handle that? Drinking Tanqueray straight from the bottle? Just the thought of alcohol will make me puke and throw up now. Can't take it. I don't drink alcohol. I'll see if y'all do it. I'll get a headache. It's not for me. I'm sober. A life of sobriety. So did I answer your question?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I have a Twitter account, and when y'all said something about Twitter, I only made it up. I think Uzziah talked me into that I followed, and that's only a few, and that follow me or whatever. So whatever they post, I might see it. But if they kind of retweet something that's off,
Yeah.
one of them, both of them, I just really I don't get on. You know, it might be a month or so, and it might be a 10-second thing, and then I'm gone. I'm like, it's carnal. It's worse than Facebook. Now, Facebook, people stay away from a lot of people stay away from Facebook. When I say like, there's a few, not a lot, but a few, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I can't tell them anything different. But as far as me and my Facebook page, I got it down to I'm good. I don't see the flesh. Sometimes if you show the flesh, I used to straight delete you, but now Facebook has evolved to where they have the stories that go across the top. So if you show flesh, then I mute you. And that means that I'm not going to see anything from you. Your story days is over with me. You only get once. I only do it once. I'm not letting it slide. I don't want to see flesh. I don't want to see a meme. Oh, this is a sexual meme. I don't want to see anything sexual because I'm not there for. I'm an ambassador of Christ. So I got to stay like that. I don't compromise. I don't reason. I don't trim my ways. I'm not bendable, shapeable, approachable with wickedness like that. I'm not playing no games. So it's got to be clean. And I understand that everybody ain't on my thought process or whatever. Judge like that. I'm not like implacable to the point like that. I'm talking about flesh. That's all. And that's one of the major things that Israel become a stumbling block. So when you're on these social medias, everybody wants to talk about fornicating and things like that. You can't survive in the truth like that, man. You don't have a problem with eating pork, brother. You know, our problem be like we going after strange flesh. We want one another. That be our issue. Bless. So when you see that, you have to mute these people. Okay, this is what this is. Mute. Bam. That's over. Each and every last one of them. And if it was somebody there have been some in time past they were so lewd that they would just be talking about it. Now I got to delete you. you ain't standing corrected. And I'm not finna come at you because there'd be other, you might have 278 messages. And people all through the timeline quoting the scriptures. You didn't hear them. That's it. So we was talking about friendship. James chapter 4 and verse 4. It says, ye adulterers and adulteresses, know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with God? Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of God. Okay? So you're dealing with that stranger, you're gonna end up being the enemy of the Most High. You end up being with that friend, you're gonna end up being the enemy of the Most High. How do you mute? When you see that story up top, it should be 3 dots in the top right hand side. Just politely click on that and say mute. It's a wrap for them. You ain't gonna see no more foolishness from them. They're not educational. That's not the type of communication you want. You know, the scriptures teach us about corrupt communication. Nothing corrupt should proceed out of our mouths, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. You're welcome. All praises. So let's go back. To John 10 and 5, and the stranger is the friend of the world, will they not follow? You know this is a friend because do we actually follow strangers? Hey, you're a stranger, let me follow you. Where are you going? It's called stalking. So you know that it's not a stranger. This is a friend. But the scriptures is calling it a stranger. In verse 5, but will flee from him. That is straight telling you that you must leave that friend alone. People be like, can I still have this friend? Can I still have that friend? This is my long life friend. Really? How long? 18 years. Okay. There still ain't no exception. It still ain't no exception. Do everybody understand that? It's my friend. I've known people. There's people that I know from when I was, young childhood. We don't be together. We have each other number in case, there's an emergency, something of need. But for the most part, we don't follow one another. There's nothing in them for me to follow. That's another good thing. That's another thing, not good thing, but there's another thing to ask yourself. Is there something in that person to follow? Yeah. Is there something in that person to follow? Dwight, you got a friend that you went to high school with? Who? Ramon. Armand. Flathead. That's what we call him, flat. That's what they call him, flathead. I know. Is there anything in him to follow? That's what the scripture's talking about. And the stranger, will they not follow? A bunny? Is there a friend that you knew he's still alive? He's out there in the streets in the world.
Yeah, Terrell.
Terrell. That was one of your main guys? How T? Y'all call him T? Is there anything in him? Is there one good thing in him to follow?
No, sir.
Nothing to follow. What about you, brother?
Yep, and
Chris was cool, wasn't he? Is there anything worthy of following in Chris? Nothing. What about you?
Ears.
Ears. Call him ears. He had them big ears and was his wings.
No, he ain't got no load.
Oh, he ain't got no lobes. He was short.
It's just these. It's an insect like that.
Oh man. He had a hard time. Yeah.
Like bug, but he's smooth.
They were smooth. Right. Is there anything in him to follow? Examine according to scriptures. What about you?
Nick,
Who, Nick?
Nick, yeah,
Nick.
yeah,
All right, Nick was cool.
yeah, it's cool.
He was cool.
Yeah,
So what's cool about Nick?
it's cool. He was in middle school. I mean, in middle school he was cool, but now he's not.
Middle school, that's like VJ and them thing, man. Like VJ, wait a minute, I know Nick. Okay. So is there anything worth following in Nick? Right. What about you?
A couple of Demarius.
Demarius. You gonna find something, ain't you? Is there something worth following him? No commandments at all, huh?
No.
Just straight reckless, like a drunk driver in life. Drunk driving in life.
Yeah.
Wow. The people like that, and last but not least, you, brother?
All right, couple.
Couple of them. All right, name one. What's his name?
My best friend, his name was Cash.
You know he on here, don't you?
He about be. He might be.
Okay. Cash said, what about me?
He smoked.
He smoked. So it's nothing about Cash worth following. So when the scriptures say, and the stranger will they not follow, the word stranger is the Most High is trying to tell you, or Christ is trying to tell you, that that person is a stranger to these covenants. So you're not supposed to follow them. Right. What about when you're mad? You get mad, you get in your feelings. Is that when you go follow? Jay?
No.
She said no. So when you get mad, what do you do? When you get mad, what do you do?
I call the priest and have him deal with it.
Okay, you call the priest. All right. Ecclesiasticus, that's what you should, that's what we should do. But what if it's one of us you're mad at? 19 and 17. Please ask us 19 and 17.
Ecclesiastes chapter 19 and verse 17.
The second part.
Second precept. And not being angry, give place to the law of the Most High.
So when you angry, you got to stop being angry. You got to humble yourself. And then you give place to the law. And then the law tells you that you have to correct that person. You have to tell them what they're doing. That's what the law says. Right?
Yes, sir.
Everybody understand?
Yes.
All right. So Psalms 1 and 1. You don't get in your feelings and then run.
The book of Psalms chapter 1 and verse 1. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful.
Right. So when something ain't right, you don't go to a stranger and get counsel from them. Often when something don't go right after you've done something and you don't like the correction of the scriptures, you go to the world. You go to the stranger. You go to the stranger. You're not supposed to do that. Go ahead.
nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful.
Right. Nor sit it in the seat of the scornful. You're not supposed to be the scornful type of person. You're the scornful. You're not supposed to do that. So everybody understand?
Yes, sir.
All right. Finish St. John 10:5. And the stranger will they not follow, but will flee from him. This is telling us those people in the street that we call friends, it's time to leave them. It says you're supposed to get away from them. You have to avoid them. Leave on a good note. Just stop reaching out. Stop texting. Stop calling. Stop going around. Take care of your responsibilities that you're supposed to take care of. Clean your house, your clothes, your laundry. If you're a male and the roof need fixing, fix the roof. Whatever you need to do to be productive, but don't go around the person who don't have the covenant inside of them, because the old man, they're gonna rise. They're gonna let those sins lift up. And those things are gonna rise inside of you. And now you're gonna have a fight and a battle, especially when they're gone. A lot of times they come around drinking and smoking, and those are the things that you was fighting your behind off to overcome. And they brought it right back in. Listen, and they were playing the music that riled your spirit up. All that music, man, there's spirits behind it. Chum, 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 chum. Then next thing you know, now you Snoop Dogging. Snoop Doggy Dog. Back to the music, and you're like, wow, remember that. Now you want to have some of that Snoop Doggy Dog fun. Hey, but that fight didn't come until you brought them back into your vicinity. All right. So keep yourself pure. For they know not the voice of strangers. So you got to get to the point to where you don't talk to them like that. You don't talk to them like that. You cut them completely out. And last but not least, so we're done. I give you an example on the necessity that might have need of them, because the scriptures tell us to make friends of the mammon. One of them is a realtor. You got a house for sale, or you know somebody with a house for sale. You call them up. Yo, Larry, what's up, brother? How you doing? All right, listen, I'm going to send somebody your way. I got a cousin who has a house that she wants to sell. All right, I appreciate it. Yo, Larry's like, yo, how you been? I've been good, man. I've been good. Okay, wait, you should call me sometime. All right, man. I tell you what, I call and check your pulse from time to time. Okay. All right, brother. Good talking to you. Have a good day. Click. That's it. That's it. That's you have need of them, and that's it. You're not like, well, let's go have wings. He's gonna pull up smoking weed, or he's gonna pull up drinking with this cup. We ain't supposed to be drinking and driving. You fought off the drinking addiction and this, that, and the third. He gonna pull up. 3 different girls was calling on the phone, whatever. Let me make this stop. Some woman. Come on, man. You supposed to be through with that. You're supposed to be through with that. So when the scriptures tell you to let these people go, they're telling you to let them go for a reason. Right, Obadiah? Let them go for a reason, because you're going to be corrupted. And a lot of people, you can't just do this for a week. Oh, I've been doing good for 4 months. I've been doing good for 6 months. The scriptures say, he that endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. So Israel, you have to endure in the keeping of your soul, and you have to endure unto the end. All right. So that's it. Any questions? All right, Matthew 26. And now you had something for Shy.
Yeah, it's in the car.
It's in the car. Okay, just make sure I get it that way, because Rocky be asking me.
Okay.
Right. Now, when Yahushua, whom the world calls Jesus, so this is Matthew chapter 26 and 6, this is the story that Christ said to tell about the sister who has greatly humbled herself. So she was in Bethany, or he was in Bethany in the house of Simon the leper. There came unto him a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointment, and poured it on his head as he sat at meat. But when his disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, to what purpose is this? For this ointment might have been sold for much and given to the poor. When Yahushua understood it, he said unto them, why trouble you the woman? For she hath wrought a good work upon me. For you have the poor always with you, but me you have not always. For in that she hath poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial. Verily I say unto you, whatsoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also this that this woman hath done be told for a memorial of her. So all praises to the Most High, and giving the sister the spirit to come forth and give Christ some comfort for his burial and leave a beautiful example of a broken and contrite heart. So all praises. Now the communion of Christ, which all repentant Israelites should be keeping the communion of Christ. So this is 1 Corinthians chapter 11 and 23. For I received of the Lord that which also I delivered unto you, that the Lord Yahushua, whom the world calls Jesus, the same night in which he was betrayed, took bread. And when he had given thanks, he brake and said, take, eat, this is my body which is broken for you. This do in remembrance of me. After the same manner also he took the cup when he had supped, saying, this cup is the New Testament in my blood. This do ye as oft as you drink it in remembrance of me. For as often as you eat this bread and drink this cup, you do show the Lord's death till he come. Wherefore, whosoever shall eat this bread and drink this cup of the Lord unworthy shall be guilty of the body and blood of the Lord. But let a man examine himself, so let him eat of that bread and drink of that cup. But he that eateth and drinketh unworthily eateth and drinketh damnation to himself, not discerning the Lord's body. For this cause, many are weak and sickly among you, and many sleep. For if we would judge ourselves, we should. For if we would judge ourselves, we should not be judged. But when we are judged, we are trusting of the Lord that we should not be condemned with the world. Okay, most high in the name of Christ. Thank you for the food, drink, amen. Okay, so I do this online. So Israel, you could put a picture to the words. This is body, which is broken for you. This is blood. Like I said, all repentant Israelites should be keeping the communion of Christ. Whenever you sit in class with us, you should be communing. We use the unleavened bread called Triscuit, and any old wine will do. All right, so go out and get those items, and the next class, have them ready and have them prepared. All right. All right. All right. That's it. Shalom. Stay around, hang around for the prayers. Yep. Okay, Israel.
If every man was just like me, what kind of sanctuary would this be?
The Lord's Prayer, Matthew 6:9. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. In Christ's name we pray, amen.
Amen.
The laborer's prayer, Luke 10:2. Therefore said he unto them, the harvest truly is great, but the laborers are few. Pray therefore the Lord of the harvest that he will send forth laborers into his harvest. Bless you, Most High, King of heaven and earth, and all things, Most High, in the name of the Christ. Send more disciples and teachers to your harvest, to gather your people Israel, and send counsel behind your laws to stand before thy people Israel. Give to us strength to break down our lives with thy word. In Christ's name we pray, amen.
Amen.
The blessing of Israel. Numbers chapter 6:24. Children of Israel, the Lord bless thee and keep thee. The Lord make his face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. The Lord lift his countenance upon thee peace. In Christ's name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Children of Israel, bless one another.
Most High name of Christ bless you all.
Yes, ma'am. All praises. Hey, Shalom, who's that? Hey, Kasai.
Can you bring my stuff home something that I'm living there Sunday? Well, I didn't start from Saturday, but I left Sunday. I'm supposed to bring it.
What does it look like?
It's my South bag. It's different colors. It's like different colors.
It's on the counter.
Yeah. And can you look in the refrigerator and grab those containers of salad out of there and bring them home?
All right. Okay, bye-bye. Bye. Hey, Jay. Huh?
That's left. There are one.
What's up, Ricky? This would be a good time, like after every class, you jump on that class and title that one.
I stopped from 2014.
Okay, but I was gonna say,
I was thinking about doing that.
yes, so like today, if you do this one, boom, you can't get away.
Right.
And then, so even with the work, it's good going back to 14, but even like after each one, that way so you'll probably be
too far behind.
you'll be approaching the middle like this.
Got it.
Okay, but you're getting something done.
I listen to say the ones I need to hear.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you got your hands full with that stuff. It's a bunch, ain't it?
It's a lot. I can't do it. Helped me out a lot.
All right, okay. All right, Israel, Shalom. Most High Christ bless, all right? Y'all have a good night. Israel, Shalom. Most High Christ bless. All right, sis. Have a good day. Drive safe.